Why did you start Troop 39?
Why did I start Troop 39? That's kind of a long question. Um, so we came out of Pack 47, which
Yes.
D'Antoni came out, took over after me. We had a lot of kids, and the program that Troop 47 was running was pretty much a take your kids, drop them off type program, and we'll see you in 4 years when they're Eagle Scouts. And we had a lot of great leaders, Miss Ken and Mr. Miss Jen, um, Mikey Ryan, Mikey, Todd, and a lot of us. We really wanted to still be involved with the kids, and we wanted to be a part of that process. And so we decided to start our own troop. I think in the beginning we had more leaders than we had kids.
Yeah.
Uh, if I look at the total leaders that we really started the troop with, it was Miss Jen, Mr. Ken, Mr. Mike, um, Mr. Todd, Rick, Carol and Al, which you guys probably never met. Um,
I think I remember Carol.
yeah, Al Okowitz, yeah, yeah, and
Um,
great Mike Ryan's wife. I mean, she was a big part of it too. So there was like 7 or 8 of us that started the troop, and I know the first summer camp we only had 4 scouts.
wow.
Yeah, so we had Brian Kesmerick and Cody coming out of Troop 47. So two of our kids were in that troop for a year in the program, and they were just kind of a little bored. You know, they only go to the same summer camp every year. They didn't branch out a lot. They didn't do a whole lot of high adventure, and it was just a little bit different program than what we wanted. So after many conversations, we decided to open our own troop.
That's great. I remember, I don't remember his name. I remember one guy was like, "Oh, your father hides chocolates under the pillow." Uh, that was Al Okowitz.
Yeah, it's probably Al. He told a lot of stories.
Yeah, he must have been a funny man.
Yeah, Al's a good guy. He taught us a lot.
Um, what was your favorite memory and/or camping trip, and why did it stand out?
Oh boy, there's a bunch. I don't think you can narrow it down to one. Um, I think that when you have scouts have like a breakout moment, whether it's in summer camp or
Hmm.
I think those are the ones that you get to cherish. Um, I have an all time favorite that it's in my head. Let me think for a second. I'd have to say things that like, and I'll use a scout that's it's pretty new now. Jeremy Oswald when he got to
Mm.
shoot the shotgun at the shotgun course. You know,
Yeah,
he wouldn't shoot that shotgun all day, and when
yeah,
he finally stepped up and shot it, he had a smile this big, and he's gone on to do great things in scouting. Uh, Gage Barlucci, another one very similar. We were up at Massawepie Scout camps, and Gage just couldn't get up the climbing wall. It's like day 3, he couldn't get up the climbing wall,
hmm,
and we'd go by every day. We'd check on him, give him a little, hoorah speech. And day
hmm.
4, he cleared that wall, and we got a picture of Gage standing at the top with his hands in the air. And
Yeah,
that's when I started calling him Super Gage because he can do anything.
yeah.
Um, those breakout moments. I don't know. Do you remember Jonathan?
Nah.
Jonathan wasn't with us for a long time. He had problems with his legs. Had some surgery on his legs a couple times, and Jonathan couldn't swim.
Hmm.
And we went up to Ruska Falls and did our first uh, crossing of the river, and we're swimming in the river. Jonathan just took off, and the kid had so much fun he forgot that he couldn't swim. I I had to send Mr. Todd after him. I think Sam went after him. I know Mikey Ryan after him, and yeah, the kid had so much fun that he forgot he couldn't swim. And one of those breakout moments that can change a kid's life.
Yeah. Um, do you remember anything from starting the troop and anything from the old troop? Like from before you picked it up?
Um, not a lot. The basement was packed with old stuff when we first got there,
Hmm.
which was really cool. I mean, obviously most of it wasn't any good anymore. We had made a lot of dump runs, but there was some patches down there. There was some that big Troop 39 lid that you guys have. Sometimes you
Yeah.
guys hang on. That was there. I believe Mr. Kenry painted that.
Oh. Hmm.
Um, that's where we got our logo from, with the Troop 39 Topahawken Turtle.
Yeah.
So Mr. Rick actually did the groundwork on that, and the Topahawken Turtle was the local Lenape Indian word for land of the
Oh.
turtle. So that's kind of where the camp name came from, and that's where the top that Mr. Ken painted came from.
Yeah. It the original Troop 39 was started in 1950, right?
I don't actually know the answer to that.
Do you notice any successes we're experiencing now that you didn't think of when starting the troop?
Probably girls.
Yeah.
I think that I don't think I could have imagined you have 25, 26 Eagle Scouts right now. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think that you've got leaders in the troop that have been day one. You know.
Yeah.
Mike and Mikey and Miss Jen and some of they put a lot of years in the troop, and it shows. You know, they got a great group of kids. You got great leaders, and I see it going on for another 10 years.
Yeah. I guess you started the troop that you wanted the old troop to be like, in a way.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every troop kind of has a personality.
Mm-hmm.
We were looking for to spread out more, you know, travel more, go to distant places, you know.
Yeah.
Mr. Todd, Mr. Lewis, and Mr. Rick, they came up with the first couple summer camps that we traveled to. And do a really cool Grand Canyon backpack trip, big Class 5 whitewater rafting trips, and a snow sledding trip up by the Canadian border. So we did a lot of cool things, and you know, if we just stayed with the other troop, we would have never experienced any of that.
Yeah. Mr. Cosgrove, do you yesterday we actually had a Cub Scouts crossover. Yeah, so the troop is growing.
Nice.
Yeah. And I was actually able to be a part of that. It was my first time taking the neckerchiefs off the scouts and like handing it over to like the new Cub Scout leader.
That's cool.
And, yeah. And it's just like sentimental to me because I remember when that was happening to me.
Yeah, it wasn't very long ago.
Yeah.
3-4 years ago. 5 years.
And now I'm working on my Eagle Scout.
What are you doing for Eagle Scout?
Which for my Eagle Scouts, I'm building a map kiosk for Patriots Park. Hello, who am I here with?
Mrs. Grenier.
All right, and
I'm Mr. Mike.
Hello, Mr. Mike. Hello, Mrs. Grenier. What was your favorite camping trip and or memory, and why did it stand out?
So I think my favorite, Mike's gonna like this. My favorite camping trip was Pouch Camp.
Yeah.
I was surprised to hear that there's a camp in the middle of Staten Island, and we went in the middle of the winter.
Yeah.
And we were all in like one cabin together. It was freezing the first few nights. And then the last night, the fireplace was in the middle. Finally, after burning all weekend, was like hot enough to keep us. Then we were all sweating to death.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. It was just we just had a really good time. The kids had a blast, like playing in the snow and everything with the sled and getting the wood, and the leaders just all like stayed up all night long talking, and it was just a really good camp out.
Yeah, the wood pile was on the other side of the camp, and they had to drag that sled. The same sled we have downstairs now. Had to drag it all the way across camp, get the wood, and bring it back, and there were several wood trips. Several wood trips. By the end of the night, we were putting in logs like this into the fire.
You were able to keep warm all those winter.
Yeah.
Yes. The worst part of it was the walk to the outside bathrooms that were like metal seats in the freezing cold. So, you know, you didn't want to stick to the toilet or anything. So that part was rough.
That would have been gross.
Yes, that would have been gross. That was the worst part of it. But the rest of it was great.
What about you?
There were so many trips.
Yeah.
I love the Gettysburg trips, but the one that takes me back was whitewater rafting in West Virginia.
Yeah.
That was a really, really good trip. 10-hour drive to get there. And it was a 2-day whitewater rafting trip. We went down, went over to the side, camped on the side that night. We had our infamous largest fire in Troop 39 history that night. And the guides cooked for us.
Yeah.
We had T-bone steaks that night. And in the morning, got back in the rafts and went back down the rest of the trail. And it was a really, really good weekend. Anybody in there that will remember it fondly. It was a good trip.
I'm so happy to hear. My next question. Do you remember anything from starting the troop and anything from like the old troop, but from before you guys started up again?
So starting the troop out was it was a lot of work, but it was a really small crew. We had 4 scouts.
4 scouts at the first summer camp.
That went to the first summer camp. So they were the 4 that started the troop, and so it was my oldest son, Mike's oldest son, Mike, Scoutmaster Mikey, and then Aiden Lewis,
right.
And then one other scout, Christian Gaddis.
Yep.
And so like the 4 of them, it was great. Them going to summer camp together. I still look at the picture of them leaving in Mr. Lewis's car. But it was a lot of work just getting the program started up and all of that. But we had a lot of people join like a few months later, and then about 6 months later, we had a whole nother crossover of the scouts that we had in PAC 47, but then a whole group of scouts and leaders that came from PAC 33, and like everybody was so willing to just jump in and figure out their jobs and work together. And so it was a challenge getting it going, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of like the leaders working together with the same vision of having like really a scout-led troop. And that's what I really...
Yeah, we went from 4 scouts at that first summer camp to like 25 at the second one. So a year later, up to 25. And then it went to 40 after that, shortly after. But when we were in Webelos in PAC 47, we knew we wanted to stay together and go to a troop. So we went to different troops to try out. And we also had Troop 47 that we could have went to, but we felt that it would be better if all of us, because we had a core group of leaders and a core group of scouts together. We had a small group that was ahead of us that actually went to Troop 47, and then we had the 4, and then we had the group behind that was coming 1 year after. So we knew we could build this troop in pretty quickly. And we talked to council, and council said that this church, First Baptist Church of Laurelton, had a troop that had folded. That its troop started in the 50s, went into the 70s, and then was restarting again in the 80s, and it just folded later, like about
Only like
4 years.
4 years before we came. So there was still some scouts in the area that had been in this troop that remembered this troop.
Yes. Yeah, we spoke to them at that first summer camp.
So was it in the 90s that you guys started it up?
We started it 10 years ago. So
2013.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So we had folded in around like 2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
And so there was still there was a lot of memorabilia down there. There was a lot of camping gear down there. That turtle that we have down there, that's painted down there, that we made our logo out of and all, that was from the troop before. Like that was in there. That was somebody else's that they had for, I don't know, their pack flag or some kind of. So we like kind of adopted that. That's how we adopted the turtle that came from that former troop.
Yeah, and the camp that we have in the back was not really a camp. It was an Eagle Scout project from one of the former scouts. He set up, it was like a nature trail. He set up a nature trail. There was a board there that explained everything. It was more of a nature trail, and they did have he set up the benches back there, but there wasn't really a fireplace back there. So we used what was there and we expanded on it big time. So remember the first camp out we had back there was in November, and it was really cold. And we had just built the original fire pit back there. and some of the leaders actually slept out by that fire pit that night because it was so cold. But it was a good time, and that was when Camp Tulpehocken was born. Wow! And Tulpehocken means the land of the turtles. So.
And do you notice any successes now that you didn't think you'd experience when starting the troop?
Well, the amount of Eagle Scouts we had. Yeah, it was amazing. And the scouts that stayed for the whole, up until 18. I mean, I remember in scouting people drop out, but we've had a lot of people just stay because they enjoyed themselves so much. Just the staying power, the leaders, the kids that still come around even after their 18th birthday, and they still come around because they still have the memories of us.
Yeah, and I would say unexpected but very welcome is having the girls join and having us running them as an integrated troop, which isn't really what's necessarily done in a lot of the other areas, but it is, it's coming, and we know that's going to be the trend, and I think we're doing a great job at running it as an integrated troop. And then the pack I didn't expect. I was hopeful that we would get a pack started, and we did, right? But then the pack kind of ran itself, and we were trying to engage with them. But then most recently, when the pack, didn't make it through COVID, but then we restarted it, and a lot of our leaders and a lot of our former scouts are helping Mike running that pack and starting to grow the pack. That was unexpected, and that's a huge success is how engaged we are with them, and just continuing the whole scouting program is pretty, makes me proud.
And just this troop getting through COVID. It's a lot of troops folded in COVID. I mean, the pack didn't make it, but the troop did. We had online meetings that were a challenge. We did the Zoom calls, and they put them together, and
I remember
I give credit to the adults that were there that helped and make sure that these meetings got through. Put out the invitations. I give credit to Senior Patrol Leader and Senior Patrol, the Senior Patrol in general with Jimmy and Nick, who planned these meetings to make sure they got through. And they were tough to get through.
I remember the Cahoots.
But we did. We did the Cahoots.
It proves just how strong we are.
Yes, it did.
And talking about the girls, it's funny. Sometimes I notice that they're better than the men at Boy Scouts. Yeah.
It's I think everybody has their strengths. That's one of the things I enjoy about being involved in the troop for so long, watching so many scouts come through, very different strengths, very different some are really good public speakers, some are really good at cooking, and but a lot of them find their confidence or their special skill that they're really good at through the program. And I like that I get to see that happen. Sitting on the board's review, talking to you all when you first start to then now when you've come through the program and done a lot, how much you all grow with the program. And both the girls and the boys are all just, everybody's growing in different skills. And that's my favorite part about it.
And as every generation comes in, you see the stages that they all go through. They all come in full of vigor, and they want to do everything, and they want to get everything done. And then just trying to through the knots, trying to figure out how to do the merit badges and get through it all, and going through that stage, and then going through the rambunctious stage. But then to get to the point where now they're older, and they're really you look like they're not even engaged. But when you have a project, these are the guys they can do a monkey bridge, and they can do the axe shot, and they can do all this without them really thinking about it. They're just hanging out and having fun, talking to each other, and then you look and they got something built, and it's something that you didn't realize that they even realized what they were doing.
And for example, I could really see that in Cruz. I remember him being very active, very wild. But when it came time for me to teach him how to build a fire, as you may remember, Mr. Mike, he was able to actually spark it and build it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you watch so many scouts come through
Yeah.
with that,
Yeah.
and that's
You realize that
great.
it sunk in, everything that you were trying to get through to them that you didn't realize
Yeah.
got through to them, that it actually sunk in.
I probably saw like a smaller scale of what you guys see
Yes.
from us.
Like, because we see it each generation, like
Yeah.
each set of crossovers, that pattern. We
Yeah.
see the pattern in the parents too, like that they're many of them are very worried about sending their kids off with us. What do you mean they're going to cook? They can't cook their own meals. They won't eat. They're too picky. And then we explain that they're going to figure it out. And they do. The ones that are a little worried about going camping the first time, they wait till their first camp out is right here.
Yeah.
But they all wind up going and having a blast and being able to cook and clean for themselves. And sometimes it's a challenge and
Yeah.
they're cleaning in the dark and after everybody else is in bed, but they
Yeah.
figure it out.
That's all part of growing up, and Boy Scouts really helps us do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the amount of work that they put in through all the ranks, and then especially going into Eagle and trying to do all that work. Those Eagle required merit badges aren't easy.
Yeah.
The projects are not easy, and dealing with all the paperwork and all the red tape that's involved with it is not easy. And
Yeah.
it's what we're instilling in them for life.
And we applaud you and we appreciate all that you do.
you.
Yeah, I get it. I know the sayings, it's only an hour a week, but I know that behind the curtains, it's a little bit more than an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah. Remember
But
the
it's
early
worth it.
days of sitting around Miss Jen's table, and those meetings would last for hours.
Yeah, we used to have the committee meetings at my house.
Really?
And yeah, it would just be out, especially when we were beginning the troop, trying to work everything out and figure out how we were going to operate.
Yeah.
They would be long.
Fundraising, because
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
troop started with nothing.
Did it?
Oh, it did not start with nothing. It started with a big donation from one of our former scouts.
Do you remember who it was?
His name is on the back of the trailer.
Yeah, Richard Galling.
Yeah.
He's a district executive in one of the councils out west now. He eagled within this troop back in the 50s?
50s or 60s. Yeah.
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 Yeah, he saw that we were restarting up the troop, and he got in touch with Mr. Bill Ankney, and he wanted to give a donation. So that really helped us start the troop.
Yeah, it really did.
We still have some of the original tents, because we made sure we put the money out to buy quality. We still have some of the original tents that we bought.
Yeah.
Up ahead, you'll see the fire pit. That's where we do vespers sometimes, skits. I remember roasting food there a few times. That's Hammock City. I remember hammocking there a few times. And this is just the overall campsite. I remember Lucas playing football with another scout here countless times. That's always fun. This is the trailer where we pack all our gear before camping trips. And on the back is the list of the Eagle Scout names: Richard Collin, Cody Ankney, Scott Sunheimer. This is the kitchen where the leaders usually make Thanksgiving dinner sometimes. That is where we usually fall in or do our meetings. Yeah. If there's a presentation, we do it there. This is where Pinewood Derby's sometimes held. I've seen it here a few times. This is the church. We've had music performances, and we were invited there. This is the bunker. On the shelves is some of the maps. This is all our past patches. that's where we also fall in sometimes if we have outdoor meetings. That's an Eagle Scout project. That's the sign of the church. Another Eagle Scout project by Henry. This Eagle Scout project's by Jack Prestis. A map kiosk.
Tons of gratitude. Everything that Mr. Bill and all the leaders, all the hard work that they put into years ago, built this great troop. It's this example of excellent leadership from the very beginning. Look what the troop has grown into. Look what it's done for you. Your opportunity to become Eagle Scout. Starting with the back when it was Pack 39. With Al Okowitz and Carol O'Neill. Ken and Dory after that. Just a beautiful legacy and a history up till today. What Mr. Anke and the other leaders started and what it's become and what it's continuing to go. And all it's offered to all these scouts, all the opportunities,